Hey everyone, happy holidays! My name is Bill Quinn, and this is episode 12. And we have an end of the year Christmas episode for today, so I'm very excited. I'll be speaking with Catherine Evans, who is from Hope for New York, and we'll be talking about her program, or the organization's program, His Toy Store. So just to set it up a little bit, obviously this is a very happy time in New York. It's a very exciting time of year. There's a real buzz in the city, and in a few days, a lot of people are going to be opening Christmas presents. And Hope for New York and His Toy Store are aimed at trying to make that experience as broad as possible. Get as many people opening presents as possible. I'll just mention that there are interviews from a couple weeks ago, and His Toy Store happens at the beginning of December, so some of the things that we talked about, the days might be a little off. But with that, here's my interview with Catherine. What is Hope for New York, and what is His Toy Store?
Hope for New York is a nonprofit organization in New York City that exists to mobilize volunteers and financial resources to around 40 anti-poverty nonprofits across New York City. So we work with organizations that work with the homeless or the elderly or at-risk kids or vulnerable women. And we really try to come alongside them and make them even more effective and even better in their service to the poor. So we do that by coordinating volunteers to support their work. We do that by giving grants to support their programs. And we do that by offering training and consulting throughout the year so that it just become more and more effective in what they do. And so one of the ways that we support these organizations during the holidays is to fund pop-up toy stores. We call them His Toy Stores. And we have 9 around the city on 2 weekends in December. And we invite families in need to come to these toy stores and shop for gifts at no cost. And our hope is that these families will pick out really great they're brand new toys for their kids, and that they'll also get connected to great nonprofits in their neighborhood that could offer them year-round care and support.
That's really cool. Who donates to these toy stores?
That's a great question. So we had around 400 donors this year who funded the toys. So we buy all the toys new. We decided a few years ago to not collect used toys because we really wanted these families to have brand new toys and the best toys. And so we buy the toys wholesale, and then our donors donate to fund the cost of these toys. And so we had around 400 donors donate around 2,600 toys. So like Dora toys and race cars and baby toys and toys for tweens like jewelry kits and makeup. We work with each site to determine what the kids involved in these certain nonprofits might want and what the age breakdown and the gender breakdown might be. And then every year our volunteers fill out a hot or not list. So what toys went really fast and what toys weren't as popular. And so we try to get toys. We spend a lot of time actually thinking about toys and talking about toys to make sure that these are the toys that these families will really love and the kids will really get excited about.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah.
So you've already done one of these. So what's been one of the hot toys, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, I think we're hearing that Dora toys are always popular. I think there's a preschool kids program called Doc McStuffins. The superhero games or superhero costumes or superhero action figures, like the Marvel figures, are always popular with little boys. And then sometimes too, it depends. It just kind of depends. Sometimes, you'll find that like educational games go really quickly as well.
Have you seen families return year after year?
Yeah, last year I went up to the South Bronx. One of our toy stores is with a nonprofit called A House on Beekman, which serves families in the South Bronx, and met a mom who had been there the year before and gotten toys for her kids. And she just shared how she was really worried that year that she wasn't sure how she was going to provide toys for her kids that Christmas, and it meant a lot to her. She's also involved in the House on Beekman's Mommy and Me program, which equips moms to really empowers moms to parent. And she brought a friend from her apartment because she was so excited about his toy store. And so you find that like a lot of people will experience this tour one year and then want to bring friends and neighbors the next. But it's a really cool time because you at a house on Beekman, the parents are coming in, and so the kids don't come in with the parents obviously because it's they want to surprise the kid, and so they actually do a children's program for the children who come in. There's games and a magician, and the way that it's set up, it's truly like a store. And the parents also have an opportunity to donate toward the wrapping of the gift. And so I think it's a way that it really creates a sense of like this is just like shopping. This is like shopping for a toy, and the parents really enjoy it.
And so certainly the volunteers that are coming must get a lot out of this experience. I mean, it must just be an incredibly rewarding experience to volunteer for something like this.
Yeah, I think a lot of our volunteers are young professionals, so they're people who are in their 20s and 30s, and a lot of them are working pretty intense jobs. And then some of our volunteers are also moms and dads at certain stores. And so it is really cool for them, I think, as the holiday and Christmas craziness starts to ramp up, to take a break and give, because there's a lot of getting and a lot of selfishness during this time, and it's a wonderful time. But I think to take a step back and engage with others and other people's needs, I think is really rewarding for them. And I think too, because this is such a great and fun event to volunteer, it's also sometimes the first time that some of our volunteers have volunteered with these nonprofits. And so it's great for us. We love it because it's an entry point into maybe long-term volunteering. Maybe you go down to the Father's Heart, which is in the East Village, and volunteer at his toy store, and then you want to start serving breakfast on Saturday mornings and really building relationships with the families that you serve. We're all about at Hope for New York, like holistic, sustainable volunteering. And so that you would really sort of connect with an affiliate or a population and start building relationships. And you learn from the people that you're serving. You can really benefit a lot from service and from engaging with people who might be different from you, who might have different backgrounds from you. And we really think that's a valuable experience.
That's very cool. So what have you heard any feedback from different volunteers? What kind of stories, or have they ever relayed anything back to you? I don't have an end to that question, but I think I'm in the middle to that question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we have a really committed set of, and this is just shout out to our volunteers. They really put on these stores. We provide coordination and we provide funding, but there's a volunteer committee that sort of runs each store. And so it's a huge undertaking for them, and they start in the fall. And so again, these are really busy New Yorkers that take time out to put on these incredible, beautiful stores that are decorated and just so well coordinated. And so I think from last weekend, all of the volunteers just had an incredible experience. And then tomorrow, we have even more stores. And so the volunteers are all kind of gearing up for that. It's neat because a lot of times they'll recruit people either from their church groups or from work. I remember last year there was a group who did CrossFit together. And so it's a great bonding, to do with a group of friends. It's a great volunteer opportunity in that way.
You mentioned one family that was affected by his toy store, but what other families have you gotten any feedback about the impact that this program makes on other families and their lives?
Yeah, I mean, we hear a lot of really, really great stories. One of our affiliates, the Father's Heart in the East Village, which serves men and women who are experiencing homelessness or food and housing insecurity. One of the volunteers shared this story with us. There was a mom who had just been to Kmart actually to pick out a toy for her daughter. And they wouldn't allow her at Kmart to put this toy on layaway. She couldn't afford it. She wouldn't put it on layaway. And so she had to put the toy back on her shelf. And that was sort of like very upsetting to her and sort of brought her down. But she was invited to his toy store. And so she came to his toy store and found the exact same toy that she had seen at Kmart. It's a brand new toy. And she was just sort of like marveling at this and just kind of rejoicing to the staff and the volunteers. Like she couldn't believe
that's really
that
nice.
she was able to find this toy. And so I think we see that a lot, again, just with the families there. They experience so much stress. And, I think especially these families who are in crisis or in a point at which like this time of year is not happy. It's more stressful and, in some ways depressing. And then for them to be able to come to this store and be able to provide for their kids, there are men and women that we work with who are recovering from addiction, who are estranged from their children, or men and women who are returning from incarceration, trying to build back relationships with their children. And we find that they'll come to his toy store and to be able to pick out a toy for this child, because it sort of symbolizes the start of something new for them in their relationship with their child and a renewal and restoration in their lives. And so to be able to provide that for her and restore a sense of dignity and a sense of being able to provide as a mother is really cool.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
It's great to be part of that.
So if someone is listening to this and they're inspired and they'd like to volunteer, what kind of opportunities do you have for people to volunteer, and how do they go about becoming a volunteer?
Right. So we have volunteer opportunities every day of the week with over 40 organizations across New York City. And so if you're looking to serve with an anti-poverty organization in New York City, you can come to us and find a good fit for you. So our website is hfny.org/volunteer. And when you go there, you can find a filter that you can filter our volunteer opportunities by day of the week or by the population you'd like to serve, by the activity you'd like to do. And then you can sign up right away. And for some of our volunteer opportunities require a commitment, but many of them, you could just sign up one time, try it out, and then see if you'd like to return. We have in February an outreach to homeless populations called Don't Walk By, where every Saturday in February we engage volunteers to go out on streets in Manhattan, engage the homeless on the streets, offer them a care kit, and invite them back to a home base where they could receive a meal and information about long-term recovery. And that's an awesome opportunity. It's a great group opportunity. If you've ever been sort of burdened by the homelessness that we see in New York City, but not really sure how you can help, this event really equips you. You don't need to have any prior experience. And so that's coming up in February. It's a great first-time volunteer opportunity.
With all your experiences, I mean, you operate or you support 40 organizations, and you obviously do a lot of great work. What is one lesson you've learned that you could pass on to people who might be interested in running a nonprofit or doing similar work to what you do?
I think working in nonprofit is incredibly rewarding, but it's also very difficult. You deal with a lot of resource constraints. And most nonprofits have a pretty lean staff doing a lot of different things. And so I think we've learned at Hope for New York that it's very important for our staff to constantly revisit our mission and why we do what we do, because it's very easy to get weighed down, and especially for our work, because we do so much coordination into some of the administrative tasks or the logistics, and that you can lose sight of why we're doing what we're doing and why we believe in what we're doing. And so I would say for staffs to consistently come together around stories of hope and transformation that your work has accomplished, and just reinforcing with one another the vision and the mission and the big picture. It helps you push through, especially in times where you're feeling constrained by resources or time. Just to always revisit the vision, revisit the mission, and encourage one another in that.
Oh, that's it. Thank you so much. I just wanted to thank Catherine Evans for taking all the time to talk with me. I know she was extremely busy, and I really appreciated her taking time out of her day to talk to me a little bit. Everyone at Hope for New York and everyone who did his toy store, thank you so much. Another shout out to Abigail Tsang for connecting me with Catherine. Also, a shout out to Jillian D'Angelo. This episode would have never happened had it not been for Jillian. So thank you, Jillian. Everyone, have a great New Year's. Happy 2016. And we have some great episodes already lined up for the new year. So I'm very excited to bring those to you. So definitely check back and talk to you soon. Well, if you like that episode, I have good news. There's plenty more on my website, thebillquinnpodcast.blogspot.com. Plus, you can get notices about future episodes by following me on Twitter and liking my Facebook page. The Twitter account is @bquinnpodcast. Also, you might work for an organization, run an organization, or know somebody who does work for an organization that would be a great fit for a future episode. Please get in touch. Email me at thebillquinnpodcast@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you.
And they were a couple, and they just really, oh my goodness, this is the wrong story. I need to start over. This is the wrong story. I thought this was his toy store, but it's not. I was reading the email. Shoot.